Preface and Foreword of A Boy's Life of Booker T. Washington. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Larry Wilson. A Boy's Life of Booker T. Washington by W.C. Jackson. Preface. The single aim in telling the story that follows is to interest boys in the life of Booker T. Washington. This man's life was of such singular and vital importance in the history of his own race and in the history of our country that it ought to be familiar to all the youth of the land, and to the Negro youth especially, since it is the greatest inspiration to the latter to be found in the annals of American history. There has been no attempt to be original or exhaustive in the treatment. While a great mass of material has been consulted, it should be frankly stated that the story follows very closely the material found in Washington's Up from Slavery and My Larger Education, and Scott and Stowe's Booker T. Washington, Builder of a Civilization. The author desires to acknowledge his indebtedness to Doubleday, Page & Company for permission to use extensive quotations from these books. If some boy by reading this book is inspired to higher ambition and encouraged to nobler effort, the author will feel that the book is fully justified. Foreword. This is the story of Booker T. Washington. It is the story of a boy who was born a slave and who in manhood became the leader of 10 million people, who was born in poverty and ignorance and became the greatest orator and teacher of the Negro race, who was born of an ignorant and backward race and became the friend of the greatest and best men of all races of all the world. He was a brave man. He had courage and backbone. He was not afraid. He had courage to fight for what he believed to be the right. He was an energetic man. There was not a lazy bone in him. No man ever lived a more strenuous life than he did. He loved his work, and few other men ever did so much work in a lifetime. He was just and fair-minded. He could see right for the white man as well as for the Negro. He never intentionally did anyone, white or black, an injustice. He was an honest man, honest in his thinking as well as in his business, honest, frank, and open in his speeches and his writings. He looked facts squarely in the face. He was a wise man. He had intelligence. He had good judgment. He knew the right thing to do and say, and he did it and said it. He was a modest man. He did not boast or brag. He did not try to get money or office or high position. He was content to do his work as an honest man. He was a patriotic man. He loved his country and believed this to be the greatest nation in the world, and he was ready to give his life for it if necessary. He had willpower. He made up his mind about things, and when he had made a decision, he could not be discouraged nor turned aside. He would see his plans through, and he would stand by his convictions to the last. He had self-control. He did not lose his temper or his tongue. He kept himself in hand. He did not lose his head or waste his time, thought, and effort on useless and needless things. He was a great lover of animals. He loved the pigs and chickens, the horses and the dogs, the birds and the fishes, and everything living. Above all, he loved folks. He loved the people of all races. He was a friend not only to the black man, but likewise a friend to the red man, the yellow, the brown, and the white. He loved his race. He was not ashamed of it. He was proud of its history, of its great achievements in the past. He had an abounding confidence in its future. He believed that in the days that lie ahead, the Negro race is to play a wonderful part. It is well worthwhile to know about this man. End of foreword.